Good day, everyone. We are the group 16. So, our teacher for today is Teacher Jewel and Teacher Tel. So, our topic for today is all about gender-based violence, power use of force, and consent. And our lesson objectives: 1. Identify the relationship between abuse of power and gender-based violence. 2. Understand the term violence in the context of gender-based violence means using some type of force which may or not include in physical force. 3. Understanding the meaning of informed consent and its relationship to gender-based violence. So first, we have power. So power, it is the preparation can have real and perceived power. So the preparation that can have the both will and perceived power is a knowledge, acquisitions, and skill development. So when individuals possess in a different understanding of a subject, matter, or have their skill in particular area, they gain real power. The combination of power derived from the actual knowledge and skill and perceived power based on the other perception of expertise. So here there's some example of different types of power and powerful people. First, we have social, peer pressure, bullying, leader, teacher, and parents. So, power can indeed manifest in various social contexts. So first we have in fear pressure. It is referred to the influence exerted by one's fear or social group to conform to certain behaviors, beliefs, or norms. The example of this, a group of friends pressure an individual to skip school and engage in risky behavior such as underage drinking to fit in and be accepted by group. And next, we have bullying. So, bullying involves the misuse of power by individuals or groups to intimidate, harm, or control others. Bullies exert power over their victims through physical, verbal, or emotional. A power imbalance to assert dominance and control. Example of this, uh, a student use their physical strength and influence to intimidate and harass a classmate, making them feel powerless and isolated. And next, we have bullying. So, bullying involves the misuse of power by individuals or groups to intimidate, harm, or control others. Bullies exert power over their victims through physical, verbal, or emotional. A power imbalance to assert dominance and control. Example of this, um, a student use their physical strength and influence to intimidate and harass a classmate, making them feel powerless and isolated. Fourth, we have teacher. So teacher hold power in educational settings as they possess knowledge and authority to guide and shape student learning experience. So example of this, a teacher use their knowledge and authority to create a positive learning environment, engaging student and facilitating their intellectual growth through effective teaching methods. Last, we have parents. Parents also hold significant power over their children. So they have the authority to set rules, enforce disciplines, and shape their children's values and behaviors. And next, we have B, economics. So the preparation controls money or access to goods, service, monies, and favors. So the power of economics refers to the ability to control resources such as money, goods, service, and favors. So power can be wielded by individuals, organization, or government, influencing various aspects of society Like for example, government control over monetary policies allow it to regulate interest rate and money supply that impacting the overall economy. Similarity, business with substantial financial resources can influence markets and competition. So D, physical strength, size, use of weapons, controlling access of or security, soldier, police, rovers, gangs. So the power of physical strength, size, and use of weapons refers to the ability to exert, control, access, or security through force. Law enforcement, agency, criminals, and organized gangs. So, gender-based social, men are usually in a more powerful position than females. So, gender-based social power dynamics of male being more powerful position than females. So, this inequality is rooted in social norms, cultural beliefs, and historical structures that have favors men on over women in various aspects of life. So, example of this in balance can be seen in areas such as politics, business, leadership roles. Historically, men held a majority of position of power in government and have dominated decision in making process. So, F, we have age related. Often the young and elderly people have the least power. So, age related power dynamics often result is young and elderly individuals having the least of power society. Young people may have limited decision making autonomy and restriction due to their perceived. So elderly individuals may economics against in barriers in accessing opportunities and resources due to age related stereotypes. So, an example of this include young people being subject to parental authority and educational regulations, while elderly individuals may have challenge in employment and healthcare due to their age-related biases. So next we have use of force, violence. So force might be physical, emotional, social, or economics in nature. So the use of force of violence refers to the exertion of power through physical, emotional, social, or economic. So means to achieve a desired outcome or control others. So physical force involves the application of physical strength or aggression to intimidate, harm, or control individuals or group. So emotion force involve manipulating or exploding someone emotion to gain control or influence over them. So this can include such as emotional, manipulation, gaslighting, or psychological abuse. So social first involve using social dynamics, norms, hierarchy to exert control or influence over others. So economic force involve using economics powers or resources to control or manipulate others. So force also including limitation, threats, persecution, or other forms of psychological social pressure. So limitation involve imposing restriction or constraints or someone freedom or choice. Like for example, a government may impose internship laws that limit freedom or speech or controlling partner, restrict their activities, interaction, or their spouse. So threats involve impressing or implying harm or negative consequences to coerce or intimidate others. So this can include their threats or physical violence, blackmail, or intimidation factor. to still fear and gain compliance. So persecution refers to the systematic means, treatment, or discrimination of individuals or group based on their beliefs, identity, or characteristics. So other forms are psychological and social pressure can include manipulation, gaslighting, social orientation, or the use of norms and expectation to control or influence behavior. So violence it is consists of the use of physical force or other means or coercion such as threats, endorsement, or promises or benefits to obtain something from a weaker or our vulnerable person. So violence refers to the act of using physical force or other forms of coercion such as threats, investment, or promises of benefits of something from a person who is a weaker or more vulnerable. It is vulnerable, and it is involved intentionally causing harm, injury, or damage to others, either physical or psychologically. And then we have informed consent. Informed consent means saying yes or agreeing to something. So, informed consent refers to the voluntary agreement or permission to give by an individual after they have been provided with relevant information and have a clear understanding of the risk benefits in alternative involved in particular decision or actions. So that's all our report. And we have the summary. So our summary, power and abuse of the same are integral components also had an effect to the concern to be given by the survivor. So consent may be informed or be mediated on which violence is perpetrated. This violence along a cycle of seeing, overpower, and given of consent to the treatment of women and their children. So that's all our report. So we hope that you understand our report. Thank you and God bless.
So hi everyone, I'm teacher Crystal and I'm going to discuss to you about the informed consent. So when we say consent, it means we are saying yes or we are agreeing to something. So informed consent, it means making an informed voice freely and voluntarily by persons in an equal power relationship. So next, cycle of violence. So the cycle of violence refers to repeated acts of violence in an relationship. So in so we have tension building stage. So tension building stage, the abuser is argumentative, angry, uses yelling, criticism, swearing, and angry gestures. Sometimes the abuser will use coercion, threats, and minor fights may occur. So the abuser becomes increasingly agitated and aggressive. So aggressive and some behaviors include crazy making, criticizing, displaying, mood behavior, drinking drugs, and etc. So for the victim senses the abuser's agitation and has the feeling of walking on eggshells. The feeling will do anything to avoid the impending explosion. Some behaviors include agreeable or really disagree, attempting to calm, soothe, intense focus on keeping children quiet, and others. And next we have acute explosion. So the acute explosion period is the briefest and severe phase of abuse involving physical violence, verbal abuse, and public degradation of the partner. So abuser The abuser initiates aggressive verbal or physical abuse in attempt to control and oppress the victim. So some behaviors of abuser: destroying property, hitting, humiliating, imprisoning, and etc. So for the victim may feel the need to protect themselves, escape or call for help, and some behaviors include in the victim leaving, police called by victim or witness, protecting self, trying to calm better. So next is honeymoon stage. After the explosion, the abuser feels sorry for the explosion and acts apologetic and loving. The abuser might say things like, "I'll never do it again, I'm sorry, and I never meant to hurt you." So for abuser, the abuser feels guilty for inflicting abusive behavior, primarily out of a concern of found guilty of abuse, shamed by others, or left by the victim rather than feeling of sympathy for the victim. And some behaviors include begging for forgiveness, crying, declaring love, and etc. So for the victim feels scared about and questions their responsibility for the abuse. They are happy to be in a place of peace, and the victim believes there is hope for the future of the relationship. And some behaviors include agreeing to stay, feeling happy, and hopeful it change. So for the summary, power and abuse of the same are integral components of GBV. So these components also had an effect to the consent to be given by the survivor. Consent may be informed or vitiated in which violence are perpetrated. So this violence along a cycle of being overpowered and giving of consent to the detriment of women and their children.